there's this enormous transition going on, with smartphones growing at a fantastic rate and tablets also growing at an amazing clip, and to some extent sort of sucking the life out of the old PC market. Now, we don't think that's dead, not at all, but the growth is over here at the moment, and we need to cope with that.
Is Microsoft too late to the game? They're already having to discount their Surface tablet by 30%. They're taking a $900 million write-down. Can they really compete when Apple has stolen such a march, as indeed has the likes of Samsung?
Well, on the tablet market, Apple no longer has the market to itself. Others have stepped in. Google is a notable player in there now with the Nexus devices and so on. But it's fair to say that Microsoft came to this late and has, in addressing it, has thrown more or less all the pieces up in the air. So as a new strategy, new versions of Windows, new business model, everything is up in the air. And it's going to take a while before all that dust settles and we can really see whether it's working or not.
Even Google is struggling. They've been shifting its ad model. They're going to a multi-screen ad model. The fact that even Google is struggling with this probably tells us the difficulty that is faced in making mobile a much more diverse economic ecosystem, both sort of geographically and in terms of the operating systems, actually work.
That's right, and I think there are two big things going on there. One is that as we go to mobile, so Android is stunningly successful, but the rates on mobile, the advertising rates, are lower. So the faster it grows, the more it dilutes the advertising revenues. But at the same time, in our surveys, we're seeing people shift their browsing behaviour from PCs onto mobile. So there may come a time where the PC searches actually fall, which will sort of accelerate the trend. And we think we've probably hit that in some countries, but not all countries yet.
But can Google start to leverage that? Can they actually start charging more? They're already they're changing the way, the tools to advertise, aren't they? They're making it easier. You can track your performance of your ad campaign. So if they're adding value, can they start charging more?
They are adding value, and the other big thing that's going on is that people are doing much more complicated purchase behaviour. So they're researching on one device, price checking on another device, and then completing the transaction on another device. And it's very hard to track all of that across those devices. Now, Google's big bet is the enhanced campaigns, and they're in the process of migrating their customers across to that. And they were very upbeat on the call yesterday about how that should deliver better ROI across the devices, but we're not just seeing it yet.
Where does this leave Apple?
Where does this leave Apple?
Google, the whole sort of advertising model, the basis on which Google is pushing on its advertising sort of strength, where does that leave Apple? The revenue models are very different.
They are.
The challenges are different as well.
Yes, I think so. Apple does have some advertising, but it's not very strong. It takes the bulk of its profits off the hardware, and that, so far, we're going to learn a lot next week, of course.
I was about to say, but the hardware is... you look at the hardware story. You've got Microsoft has thus far failed to deliver on the hardware. Google is kind of getting into hardware. You've got the Nexus 7, and it's going to produce a second generation one of those very soon.
Yes.
Motorola is coming out with a new phone. Do we know yet which model is going to work best?
What we are seeing is a convergence on devices and services. All three of those companies have devices and services. Microsoft has just shifted to that from a software model, and Apple takes most on devices, less on services, although, you know, services is considerable. Google is most on services, less on devices. Microsoft is coming into that mix. So they're all coming at it from slightly different directions, but that's the model we're settling on.